Karl, big thank you for joining us. Just before we touch upon the FA Cup this weekend, let's start things off by congratulating you for your nomination for Manager of the Month.
It's a bit of...
It'd be an omission if you weren't, considering what happened in December.
But it's because of the players. Like I say, there's nothing I've done that's too dissimilar to the multiple months that have been here. It's just the players' work ethic, their determination, their clarity in what they've took on board. Managers are generally redundant. It's down to the players 95% of the time, and the other 5% is generally a little bit of luck that's needed, or a refereeing decision to go your way. But no, it's brilliant for the club. It's never about one individual. I don't think that award should ever really be there, because I think it's a bit egotistical. The most important aspect of all of this is the players, and the second thing is how the fans respect the players and the players respect the fans. Everything else around that's just noise.
We should say we're recording this on Thursday. We find out on Friday whether you've won Manager of the Month for December, so best of luck on that front. But you mentioned the players there, Luke Garbutt being nominated for Player of the Month, and on a defensive point of view, rolling clean sheets. Matty Young with a PFA nomination as well for the month of December. Going back to what you just mentioned there, I mean, it is all credit to the players. But
they've been brilliant. I say that, but like I say, that you're only halfway through the season and nothing is of any importance whatsoever what you get this time of year. I know sometimes he's always a miserable sod and he's so on all these things that go with it, but I just want to win, and I want to make sure we're in around it by the back end of the season, and that's the only focus that I've got.
Yeah, I was gonna end this bit by saying fingers crossed for more accolades closer to.
Well, there's only one accolade that I want, and that's
yeah.
not to be in this league next season. That's the only one that I ever want, and that's the one that we all strive for every single day. And I think that is part of what we want to be, as a team that is hard working and really geared up to try and be successful for the future. I think if anyone gets too excited by what they've achieved in December, you'll soon find by May it won't be here. I think that's part of our culture, that we want to create a team that is there to win week in, week out, and enjoy the summer off the back of success. And it's hard to get out of any league, and this is not too similar to any other league I've gone to before, that you've got to make sure that you are 100% on it.
And that's been very much the case over the festive period. I mean, I remember our conversations heading into, you know, that game on the 22nd of December, and all those fixtures that were coming up heading towards New Year, and you were saying how important this period of time is, and I think we were 12th or thereabouts, certainly mid-table heading into that period, and now we're around the automatic promotion line. So
I think I said to you, when we go into the new year, it'd be nice to be just on the coattails of that playoffs. I don't think, even though you always think you're going to win every single game that you play, I don't think anyone really truly believed that we were going to go on the type of run that we went on, even though internally we believed that we were good enough to do it. I think sometimes the harsh reality of our game is you need an awful lot of luck to win a few games as well, and we had that little bit of luck. Maybe Gilby missed that chance late on against MK, but other than that, I think we've thoroughly deserved every single point that we've gained so far, and because of our work ethic, the output of MK Dons was equally fair, I felt, as well. So it's just another journey, another chapter in what we want to do, is make sure we get out of the league.
I think after Harrogate, you mentioned you brought the staff in your first answer, and you thanked them for all their efforts. And just going back to this festive period, because I think it's very easy to, you know, suffer defeats over the festive period, because it's one game after another, one different challenge to the next. But it looked like we had a game plan for each of the opponents, and that is all credit to the staff, all credit to the players for taking on board the instructions. I mean, you've got to say, I'm imagining the challenge of MK Dons, with all due respect, is different to the challenge of Harrogate, and there's multiple games like that over Christmas. So.
I think someone was saying there's over 20 changes we made from one game to the next, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But we had a plan. We planned 5 games in advance for the Christmas period. We looked at the pitch size, we looked at the pitch quality, we looked at the strength of the opposition, the weakness of the opposition, and we had almost 3 or 4 teams planned out, knowing that there would be changes to that along that way, because if a forward scored goal, you're a bit stupid not to play him there if he's on that roll. So even though you had a plan for them, there was always different variables that may change depending on performance, fatigue, and that happened once or twice. And one of them was Sam actually wasn't playing a certain game, and he was in such great form that his body was in such a good place that you was stupid not to continue on that form that he was on. Obviously Tyrese got suspended, so where his rest was later on down the line that we had to change that, and so there was always variables that we would change for, but there was a message, that there was a style embedded in all of the teams that we picked going into that period.
Just moving along slightly towards City this weekend. I mean, with regards to that squad rotation, I think, like you said, it was 6 one week, then 6 the next. I think it was 5 changes ahead of MK Dons on Saturday. If you're, in charge of City and looking at how we prepare with the squad available to you, they're not really going to have much of an idea, are they? I'd suggest they might have an idea of the style of play to a certain degree, but you're in a good spot, because the other thing you have to mention as well is when that FA Cup draw is made, the squad could quite easily have taken its eye off the ball, but you've just been flawless throughout pretty much.
The players have been brilliant. Like I say, I don't think anyone can sit here and not one player take all the credit. I think everybody has worked hard to make sure them players get on the pitch and to make sure that we've been quite consistent in how we play. Maybe this personnel changes a little bit of a twist on our style depending on what type of people we play in certain positions, but we're in a good spot, but in my head, Fleetwood.
Yeah, obviously I'll come to that, the second part of the season in a second, and how this impacts it this weekend. I do have to mention the news as we head into this weekend about Stefan Negri's return. I think it's safe to say, with his performances and just his general demeanour around the training ground, he's going to be a loss, to say the least.
Yeah,
you're
a massive loss. Everyone knows I signed him from Ireland, signed him again here on loan. It's a kid that I think the world of, a young man I think the world of. But equally this season as well, we've lost Adalukan for 4 months, Kelly Amai for 4 or 5 months. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions with players that we've continuously lost, but everyone only sees the output that our results have given us. But there's been so many difficult challenges along that way, and we've managed to overcome all of the hurdles.
Well, let's talk about City. You've been here before, obviously, with previous jobs. You took Newcastle to replay, you played Chelsea, you played Arsenal in the FA Cup, haven't you? What should we expect, do you think, this weekend?
Oh, they're good. They're good.
They are good, yes.
They're really good. What do we expect? A challenge like no other. An opportunity like no other. Just man v man, just make sure you leave everything on the pitch. And as I said before, I don't know whether you heard, but there's 2 elements of winning. There's the actual winning the result, which is the only thing that ever really matters. But sometimes when you come against these teams, you mightn't have that much of a chance. Is that the other element of winning is making sure that you perform and put everything into it. Yeah. That should be the same every single week. If you do that every single week and you're a little bit better in your position, you should win. This one is that we can play our perfect best game of the season and still not win because of the quality of the opposition, but at least we've challenged that and we've been a truer version of ourselves. So it's it's just an opportunity for us to. It's the first time that truly the eyes of the world, football aside of it, will be watching Salford.
Yeah.
And I think I've said multiple times, Manchester is one of the biggest cities in the world when it comes to football. And we're only ever going to be in the shadows of Manchester United and Manchester City because of the enormous worldwide following and the amount of trophies that they've won collectively between them. But we are grown, we're only 10 years old. We're still a very, very infancy of who the club one day really wants to be. And that's a responsibility we're taking on our shoulders. And this will be another part of the chapter this game of the weekend. Yeah, because we should say, as we're recording this on Thursday, you have been very, very busy with all the press. It certainly has gone up a notch. It's noticeable, isn't it, heading into this weekend? Yeah, that's just part of football. Like that. If you want to be at the next level, it becomes a little bit more. You want to be a level above that, it becomes even more. And you want to go above that it becomes probably 90% of our jobs. But I think that's just, you just got to be yourself. Just be yourself with the media, with your performance, with who we are. I know there's words of relentless, integrity, industry. They're true words. That's part of who we are. It's the birth, the words that we see consistently around the building, and it embodies obviously what Salford people stand for. A work ethic, non-negotiable, first and foremost. And then there's an acceptance then of the output if it's not quite right, that we've worked hard. So we've got to just make sure that we work hard at the weekend.
Yeah, and do you dare to dream about this weekend? I mean, it would be...
No, not... Would you like to win? Yeah, there's no...
But have you thought about winning? Because that's the... I think it'd be one of the biggest ones
I never think about winning. I never think about it. I just got to make sure that we work hard.
Yeah.
And then I enjoy winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the difference, because when you dream of winning, what is that is the product, but what is the process?
Yeah.
And if you just think about the product and you forget about the process, the outcome is never what you want it to be. We've got to make sure that we are part of this process. We work hard and we work all week and getting this right and that right and that right and that right, and then if everything's right, then you might end up winning, and then that's when you can celebrate. But not until that is ever in front of you do you really truly dream of that. I just got to make sure that the big thing for me, I haven't thought about how hard we're going to work in the build to Fleetwood, yes, as well.
And that's the other thing I was going to mention. You mentioned Fleetwood after the MK Dons match, and it is important, isn't it, that this game this weekend, whatever happens, the focus predominantly does stay on Fleetwood in a really weird way, because you'd think this is like one of the biggest games in the club's history, but yet the focus has to be the league and the bread and butter. It's a weird one, I'm imagining.
It's a long way away still, so we've got a lot of work to prepare for that and make sure that we are ready for it. But I think that we've got to make sure that we are. Let's enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
Let's hit 5,500 people. Let's enjoy the occasion, and let's get back to work on Monday morning and get ready for the second half of the season.
Yeah, in a weird way, the club's gone back to the Notts County match many moons ago, and it's like David versus Goliath, and you spoke about the magic of the FA Cup, and I think we spoke about this briefly a while ago about Warrington Town's match years ago against Exeter.
My brother scored,
and we are at that stage, remarkably, 10 years after being at the Northern Premier League level, and it's just one to enjoy, isn't it? Your final thoughts just about what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think growing up as a kid, I think Des Lynam, match of the day, the whole build up, the team in the hotel, the bus ride in that we were so lucky to sort of see, and it was the greatest domestic cup competition in the world. It certainly is the prettiest cup in the world. It always has been. So it's always been a competition. I know when Liverpool beat West Ham, I was at Liverpool at the time, I actually had the FA Cup with my daughter and stuff, and you just think to yourself that there's been so many people that have dreamed of these opportunities, and like I said, we're lucky our owners have won it multiple times, and it's great that one of their football clubs that they now own is given an opportunity to go against the best team in the country. They're still champions of England. And we've just got to make sure that we enjoy that. And again, the FA Cup is still something from a traditionalist point of view. I don't think I'll ever lose my love for that. It's always something that we will always remember. Maybe the generation behind us, it might be the same, but I think my generation certainly still hold the FA Cup in high esteem, and we'll be looking forward to the opportunity that's given us the weekend.